Hey everybody, welcome to the show. On this show, a very special guest, Danny Kavadlo. Took some time to sit down with me. We talked about life, we talked about training, we also talked about his new book. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Hear what Danny has to say. Danny, what is up, man? Thank you so much for being on here. How you doing?
I am quite well. It is absolutely a pleasure to be speaking to you. It's a very, 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 very extraordinarily exciting time. We just dropped the brand new book, Diamond Cut Abs, which unbelievably to me is in its third week at #1 on Amazon for ab workout books, which is just completely mind-blowing for me. And we're just spreading the good word, teaching the calisthenics, teaching the training, making people strong out there, and fighting the good fight, my man.
Love it, man. Love it. And I love how, like, for the interview today, you redid the hair, just like you have in the Diamond Cut Abs book. I love it. Looking good, man. Looking good. So let's
Thank you.
tell a little bit. Let's just have you tell us a little bit about. I know what you're all about. I've been following you for a while. You and your brother, crazy guys. You tell a little bit about listeners out there. What's the deal with Danny Kavadlo? What's going on with Danny? I know that you're. A little bit of your background, mainly trainer. You got a really great homepage, by the way. And for those of you, we'll put the link up there, but DannyTheTrainer.com. All one thing on there, DannyTheTrainer.com. Tell us a little bit about you, Danny.
Well, just a little bit about me. I'm 40 years old. I've been practicing calisthenics and strength training since I was a kid. I came into a lot of different modalities of training, but it really wasn't until I became a dad when I was 31 that I became a fitness professional. And that's when, although being a fitness enthusiast for so many years, when I became a dad, that's when I said, you know what, this is something I really want to make my livelihood out of. I really want this to be my main contribution in life. So that's really what happened with it. And then I've been fortunate enough in the last few years to, with my brother Al Kavadlo, just be traveling the world, teaching the progressive calisthenics, working with the body weight training, keeping it basic, keeping it simple, harmonious, honest, strong, true, all that good stuff you could say about body weight. So I've been very blessed these last couple of years for sure.
Well, I got to tell you what, something that draws me, to you, not just the tattoos, but is, you're a family guy, and I absolutely love that. And another thing you mentioned too, you're 40, so we're about the same age, and I'm not saying like we're old or anything like that, but it's so refreshing to see people like you just kicking ass out there and doing it, when you're 40 and still continuing to go. You look great, you move well. It's really cool. Also that you're a dad. I think it's great, you and Al traveling the world and teaching so many people about calisthenics. Quickly, just a little bit, if you could tell us a little bit about what that entails. So what are you guys going on? I know through Dragon Door you guys are doing that. But if you could just tell us a little bit about what happens in one of the PCC events.
I'd be happy to. Well, just to give you a little background, to give your listeners a little bit of background in case they're not familiar with it. PCC, or the Progressive Calisthenics Certification, is based on the writings of a guy named Paul Coach Wade. Now, Paul Wade wrote a book called Convict Conditioning. It's basically considered by many people to be the body weight Bible, the Big Six. He since wrote Convict Conditioning 2. He wrote a book called CMS, which my brother and Al are on the
That's
cover
good.
of both
Yep.
those last two. And he has a much anticipated book coming out called Explosive Calisthenics, which is like the third in the
Cool.
Convict Conditioning series. And I've seen the manuscript, and it's mind-blowingly fantastic.
Cool.
So the Progressive Calisthenics Certification was put together by Dragon Door with the teachings of Paul Wade. Now, Paul Wade, for those of you that don't know him, has chosen a life of anonymity,
I
whatever
love it.
his reasons are.
Does he exist?
So that worked out great for Al and for me. who get to instruct this certification. And let me just tell you, the manual from Paul Wade, it's over 600 pages, is by far the most comprehensive and detailed body weight manual I've ever seen in my life. And you get the 3-day experience of working one-on-one with me and Al and many of other PCC instructors and team leaders. And it's really just, above the instruction, really, to me, the main amazing thing about it is just the solidarity and the camaraderie. And you spend 3 days with people who are really on the same page in terms of fitness and life, in terms of minimalism and practice. You just leave with a great life experience. I've had so many people who are at these workshops who are like, hey man, I'm the only one in my gym trying to do a muscle up on the crossover machine. But they come to this thing and they meet 30 other people that are going through that same thing. The other cool thing about it is that we have so many different disciplines. Yeah. We have people with weight training backgrounds, lifting backgrounds, kettlebell backgrounds, calisthenic backgrounds, breakdancing backgrounds, gymnastic backgrounds, powerlifting backgrounds. So many different backgrounds coming to this thing that are just really passionate about the basic mechanics of movement. So it's always a mind-blowing experience every time we have one, for sure.
And it's so cool. I mean, you mentioned that this is what brings everyone together. And so breaking down barriers, and not even just say, okay, it's got to be this way, it's got to be this way. It's just, let's get together and do this. And you guys have fun. I've seen all the pictures. I haven't been to one yet, but
Not yet.
I'm always checking out the photos, and I know you guys have fun. And so, one of the people we work with, Beth, she's just a sweetheart. I love her to death, and just the people that you have also helping you out are quality people. I love it. That community aspect of it, so wonderful, and I think so important. The positive attitude of it that you have. So,
Thanks,
I mean, you guys are just so busy. It just cracks me up because it's always like, I'll talk to Al and I'll be like, hey, Al, what's going on? He's like, oh, man, I wish we could talk, but I'm in Europe or somewhere like that.
Yeah.
And I just actually missed you guys, right? Because you guys were just in Europe. What was it? You got back when I actually think when I left. You guys were in, was it Sweden?
We did 2 workshops. We did a PCC workshop in Haarlem, Holland, at a place called Training Centrum Helena, which is owned by this dude, Martin Boss. He's like the main Krav Maga guy outside of Israel. He's a trip. Cool. And then we met up with a couple of calisthenics, Bars Unite. We met up with a couple people over in Amsterdam. And then we headed to Gothenburg, Sweden, and we did another PCC event over there.
That's right. So you're not busy at all, which is you're saying, which is really cool,
Oh yeah. Anytime, man.
And the cool thing is, I mean, you do, and I like this in Diamond Cut Abs, and and you write a little bit about this too elsewhere. It's that lifestyle is taking care of your family, big thing, your beautiful wife and your son. How old is he right now?
My son is 8.
He's 8. Okay, yeah, and so. It's just so cool because I love it that in your book, you mentioned that too. It's that lifestyle. We're trying to create this lifestyle. And instead of making it about, it's all about the workout. No, it's about doing stuff that you want to do in order to take care of your lifestyle. And, that to me just resonates so well. Of course, in GMB, that's what we're about too. What is going on as far as you right now? And I don't want to necessarily go into training aspects, but how do you approach the way that you do things as far as working out? And again, not programming or anything like that, but just kind of a broad overview of a way that you think that might help other people with their training. And to give an example for me, instead of always just thinking about sets and reps, I like to think about what you're doing right now, enjoying what you're doing, figuring out how you can explore with the movement and not just get so focused on the numbers that you lose track of why you're doing something. But that's just an example of me.
Well, that's a really good starting point right there, is just focusing on the moment. We really have a tendency as a culture to be very, very, very goal-oriented and not very process-oriented. I know you're talking to me from Japan, and that's a very, very different style of thought. where you might tend to be more focused on the process
Sure, sure.
much of the time in that more Eastern style of thought. But over here, we're just goal, goal, goal. We'll do this many reps. We'll lose that many pounds. We'll have this many calories. We'll drop this much weight in this much time. We're office weight loss competitions at the water cooler. We're biggest loser on the television. We're all these things. We're instant gratification. So, I mean, I'm definitely with you in terms of just approaching the journey as the destination. Here we are. I'm doing this rep. I'm going to focus on doing the very best rep I can do. And that's something I talk about in the book too, just the fundamentals of abdominal strength training, but it's really the fundamentals of strength training in general. And it's the fundamentals of life. It's be
Yes.
present in what you're
Yes.
doing. There's so many times in this world that people are doing an activity, whether it's their workout or whether it's their job or whether it's a conversation, and they're just kind of phoning it in and they're
Yep.
kind of doing a half-assed job. And in reality, I think the secret to success is just paying attention to those details. Okay, if I was a personal trainer or a guy working out or a chef or a grocery bagger, I would be paying attention to putting those groceries in the bag in a really efficient and effective way and doing the best I can in that moment. And I think that comes down to working out, but it comes down to everything, man. I mean, we go into these gyms. We did a PCC event just this last weekend in Milwaukee. We did it at a place called Drench Fitness. This was a great gym. Not one place in the gym was there a clock or a monitor or a TV. There was just bars, there was just space, there was just some boxes, and it was just so amazing. And it's messed up in a way that should be the exception rather than the norm, that you walk into a fitness facility and there's no televisions and no monitors and no screens. But that's the world in which we live. So I think I'm with you, man. Getting away from the distractions and being present inside every step of the way is definitely where it's at.
That's just, I mean, good stuff you just said right there. And the cool thing too is in Diamond Cut Abs in your book too, it's not just about the working out and not just about the life, but also you're talking about nutrition and having people really think about what they're putting in their mouth instead of just
Uh-huh.
saying, "Oh, well, this is a protein powder, so it's got to be
Yeah.
good for me, right?" And
I mean, here's the thing, with that book, it's like this was just the abs book I always wanted to write. I'm 40 years old, like we talked about, and there was so much information, over information, misinformation in the 90s and in the 80s coming up about have this many calories and this much fats and all this stuff. It got me in this crazy mode of just over compartmentalizing everything, thinking about the components rather than the foods itself. It just became about math and science and combination, and it wasn't reality. It was only after I was in my 30s when I started reading guys like Mark Sisson, when I started reading guys like Michael Pollan, that I was like, let me put this stuff away and let me just eat good, clean food. And that's when not only did I enjoy every single meal I ever ate more, but I looked better with my shirt off too. So it was like, this is the kind of book I wish was around when I was, 18 years old, because there's just so much. And let's face it, and this is something I talk about in the book too. I mean, to talk about abs in general, it's kind of a vanity muscle. It's something that we look at in the movie posters or Brad Pitt in Fight Clubs or the MTV videos and that chiseled six pack. And then, that's how we came up. But then there was a backlash after that. I was like, that's bullshit. Abs are not functional. I don't care if you have a six pack. I can still knock you down. And that's true half the time too. But in reality, you do use your abs every time you bend, flex, extend, twist.
Yes.
And in reality, that take your shirt off thing is a part of our culture. So how do we talk about abs in a sensible way in terms of getting strong, but talk about them in a way of training appropriately and functionally? The other thing about this book, and one thing I really wanted to drive home, is abs should never replace a full body strength training program. We need to squat, we need to push, we need to pull, we need to do all of these things. And these things are good for our abs too. You could get carved out of wood doing nothing but squats, push-ups, pull-ups, and maybe some bridge work for mobility and a couple other things here and there. But This is just in addition to that, and it's really just food for thought. And at the end of the day, anyone out there who says do this exercise or that exercise, or this is the one way to do it, or this is the best food for this or that, they're all full of shit. Because the truth is, everyone needs to experiment. They need to find what works for themselves.
Yes.
And there is no miracle workout. All these movements are the same. I don't care if you're a weightlifter. I don't care if you're a gymnast. Flexion is flexion. Extension is extension. The body is built the way the body is built. So no one is ever going to get lean or chiseled or carved in their midsection unless they're super lean. And getting super lean like that has nothing to do with your workouts. Sadly, it has to do with not eating so much. We live in a place.
Not eating crap, yeah.
Not eating crap nonstop all day. You can only eat crap sometimes. You know, it's okay.
Well, it's that balance. You know, it's that balance. And, you know, you talk about this too all the time, which is great. And that's why I resonate, with you so well. It's just like we're saying the same thing, and it's like balance. It's got to have that balance, whether it be in your workout, it's in your lifestyle, it's in your nutrition, it's everything.
There's so much dogma. There's so much this is right, that is wrong. There is no right and wrong in this thing. I could talk to 10 experts and get 10 different answers on the same question, So it's really about being informed. It's about experimenting. And it's really about using common sense over dogma or over compartmentalization. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you brought up something earlier, too. There's just so much information out there and also misinformation. And it's just, you become so overwhelmed. And it's just sometimes one of those things where you just got to just say, screw it all and just start and just do something, right? And figure out what works for you. So, just great. And by the way, I always love you and your brother's books because the photos are amazing. I'm very lucky because you sent me an advanced copy, so I got to see it. But I was like, I totally want a printed version of this so I could put it on like a coffee table. And
these books that Al and I do, I've seen comments on the internet about Diamond Cut and about some of these other books. And it's like whoever's responsible for the visual layout and for the photos is a genius. Now, Derek Brigham, he's the one who does the graphic layout for it. But all those photos are mine and Al's. We photographed them ourselves. The photos in Diamond Cut, all the craziest ones, were either photographed by Al or my wife, Jen. We were a real do-it-yourself kind of thing. My son took a couple of those photos.
Great. That's great to hear.
We do it all. We do the art direction. We do the photo editing. We do 90% of the photography. And then the other people that did the bulk of the photography, my buddy Jordan Perlson, he's a Blue Man, or he's the drummer in the Blue Man. He did a bunch of the photos in the book. And it's really a DIY kind of thing. We really keep it in the family with that type of thing. And that's why Al's books and my books have a real look to them. Because chances are, if you're seeing Al on the screen, it's me behind the shutter. Chances are, if you're seeing me, it's Al behind the shutter. That's the truth.
Hey, are you still drumming? That's what I want to know, too.
I play drums. I don't do it as a career anymore, but I play in a band with my dad.
Yeah.
It's me and him and a guitar player. My dad sings and plays guitar and writes the songs, and I play a little bit of hand percussion, a little bit of drums. And so we play about once a month in New York and Brooklyn.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, hey, listen, I hope we get a chance to hook up together sometime in the flesh. I'm sure we will.
I hope so.
But I want to thank you so much for sitting down and talking to us a little bit. Again, Danny the Trainer, all no hyphens, no nothing in there. DannyTheTrainer.com. We'll post the links in here. Diamond Cut Abs is your new book.
Buy it. It's a great book.
Looking good. All right, man. I want to thank you again, and we'll get you on the show once more. So
thanks very much, Ryan. I appreciate it.
All right, brother. You have a good one. Talk to you soon. For more great info, join us over at gmb.io, and be sure to check us out on iTunes and YouTube.